This video was sponsored by Squarespace. Stay till the end to find out how to create your own website. Welcome back to the series, where I give new teams to various trainers in the Pokemon world. The main goal of this series is to give all major trainers new teams I believe fit them the most. But I bet you didn't see this one coming. In this video, I'll be going over all the changes I'd make to all of Ash Ketchum's Pokemon teams. Now before we begin, please keep in mind that because I'm making changes to Ash's teams, there's bound to be some Pokemon of his that'll end up not making the cut or being replaced. All of these changes are in my opinion, so if you disagree or have changes in mind, let me know in the comments as respectfully as possible, okay? Alright, now with that out of the way, let's get started with Ash's Kanto team. His team will be Pikachu, Ivysaur, Charizard, Squirtle, Haunter, and Farfetch'd. Ash having all the Kanto starters is a given. They're all iconic team members, and it was the best way to represent the first generation of Pokemon. But for my version, I'll have Ash's Bulbasaur evolve into an Ivysaur. It makes this team look a lot more balanced since you'll have a first stage, middle, and final evolution Kanto starter. And it's also the same team the Pokemon trainer uses in Smash. In my version of the anime, Bulbasaur still refuses to evolve during the Mysterious Garden episode, as it's a great moment where Ash learns to support and respect his Pokemon's wants, but then eventually it'll decide it's ready to evolve during the Orange Islands. Next is Haunter. So you know how a lot of people wish that Ash's Gengar evolved from the Haunter he met in Lavender Town? Well, for my version of Ash's team, this is basically it. Instead of just leaving it at Sabrina after one episode, I decided Ash should catch it instead and have it as a permanent team member. It'll stay as a Haunter until Ash reaches the Pokemon swap meet in Johto, where he'll meet a trainer who wants to evolve his Pokemon via trade. So maybe like a Kadabra or a Machoke or something, I don't know. And since Ash also has a Pokemon that evolves via trade, they'll make a quick exchange, send it back, and our boy would walk away with a newly evolved Gengar. And since Gengar would be with Ash a lot earlier on, it would make awesome returns during the Johto League, Battle Frontier, and even Sinnoh League. Then there's Farfetch'd. He's gonna be replacing Pidgeot cause he kinda sucked and didn't really do anything. Yeah, I know Farfetch'd isn't exactly the strongest flying type replacement, but it's a Pokemon with a lot more personality, so I think it would be cool to see Ash have one in the original series. Also, in case you're wondering about Camo, in my version of the anime, Go would be the one to catch it, so spoilers, Ash won't be having that. Currently it's being used as Riolu's punching bag, and I'm afraid it'll always live under the shadow of Lucario, so I'd rather not add it to Ash's team to avoid that disappointment. Now, although this is the main 6 Ash would have in Kanto, he'll still be catching and then releasing Butterfree, catching his 30 Tauros and sending them to Oak, using Lapras during the Orange Islands, and also catching the beast Snorlax. These are all important Pokemon for Ash, but aren't really part of the main team, so they don't get the boot. As for Muck, Kingler, and Primeape, sorry guys. Next is Johto. His team will be Pikachu, Heracross, Bayleaf, Quilava, Quagsire, and Espeon. For my version of Ash's Johto team, he'll still catch Heracross, but this time, it'll actually stay with Ash and be used a lot more. Crazy, I know. Bayleaf stays as well, cause she's great, and so does Cyndaquil. The difference here though is that instead of evolving in Sinnoh when it comes back, it's evolving in Johto, as I feel like it would have made a lot more sense to do it then. The battle with Jasmine especially would have been the perfect opportunity to do so because of how intense it was. Now for the new members. First, there's Quagsire. Now I love Totodile, but it honestly didn't really do much besides dance around, so for my version, I just think Misty should have it instead. So Quagsire is a replacement. I don't know, I just really love the Wooper line, so I think it would be really cool for Ash to have it. I could see it being the comic relief of Ash's Johto team, but when it's time for a battle, it could also get serious. Then there's Espeon. Come on, it's a Pokemon we all want Ash to have, and it only makes sense for him to have it since Red had an Espeon in the games. Although the anime keeps robbing poor Ash of an Eevee, I'll be giving him one in my version. It's only right. It'll be given to him as an egg to show off Gen 2's breeding mechanics, it'll hatch into an Eevee, and then eventually evolve into the Espeon our boy truly deserves. Hoenn. His team will be Pikachu, Swellow, Sceptile, Torkoal, Marshtop, and Flygon. Now Swellow and Sceptile are Chads, so of course they're gonna stay. Torkoal stays as well, as I really do like the Pokemon, but in my version he's just gonna suck a lot less and actually be good. Now for the new members. First is Marshtop. The reason Ash ended up with Corphish is because they wanted to spread out the 3 Hoenn starters between the group and Brock got Mudkip. This was such a waste as it never really did anything, and honestly it never really seemed to fit Brock in my opinion. So for my version, Ash should be the one to catch Mudkip and then later evolve it into Marshtop. It'll give the Hoenn water starter a lot more shine. Then there's Flygon, another fan favorite Pokemon we all want Ash to have. Seeing as how Go has one now, it doesn't seem like the dream will ever be a reality, so I'm giving one to Ash and Hoenn as this is when he should have had one all along honestly. He'll be catching it as a Trapinch, and it'll have the same type of hilarious gag like Ash's Turtwig and Gibble where they constantly bite him in the head. Eventually, it'll evolve into a Vibrava, but I won't have it fully evolve into a Flygon until the Battle Frontier, as that'll give it some room to grow and develop like Ash's Sceptile. But when the moment finally does happen, man will Ash's Hoenn team be pretty awesome. Even though this is the main team, I'll still be letting Ash catch Aipom in the end as it was set up perfectly to be traded for Buizel and Sinnoh. Speaking of which, Sinnoh. This team was honestly really hard to change up. His entire Sinnoh team played a huge role in the anime, and they're all iconic in their own way. In the end, I was only able to get rid of one Pokemon, and although it pains me to say this, the Pokemon I decided to get rid of was... Gliscor. Listen, this hurts me, as it's literally one of my all-time favorite Ashmons, but realistically, it didn't really do much. It constantly lost and only won against Byron's Bastiodon before being left behind with the Air Battle Master. It was cool to see it come back, and it did come in handy, but that doesn't change the fact that Gliscor is sadly the weakest link of Ash's Sinnoh team. Even more than Torterra surprisingly, as at least it did a lot as a Turtwig. Now let's get into the new team. Pikachu, Staraptor, Turtwig, Infernape, Buizel, and Garchomp. Now I love Torterra, but goddamn did it go downhill after evolving. Not only did it lose its personality, but it just lost all the time, period. So for my version of Ash's team, I'm keeping it as the cool speedy Turtwig it was meant to stay as. The next and final change is giving Ash a Garchomp. This is what his goofy and lovable Gibble will evolve into. Since Ash won't be catching Gligar, that'll allow Gibble to show up a lot earlier in the series and give it more time to grow and evolve. So by the time Ash reaches the Sinnoh League, he'll have a badass Garchomp of his own. This would also help compensate for the de-evolving of Torterra, although we're not really missing much to be honest. You might be wondering why I won't be adding Lucario, but honestly, having it in Sinnoh would just rob Infernape's spotlight, and we cannot have that as Infernape's story is literal perfection. Now time for Unova. This is probably the team with the most changes for obvious reasons. Ash's Unova team sucks. For this team, he'll only be sticking with 6 to give his Pokemon the right amount of development and screen time they deserve, so none of that rotation shit. His team will be Pikachu, Dewott, Serperior, Crocodile, Darmanitan, and Braviary. Crocodile is easily Ash's best Univamon, so he gets to stay. I'll also be keeping Oshawott and Snivy, but making them evolve. Dewott is a great fit for Ash, cause not only would it be stronger, but it looks similar enough to Oshawott to keep its goofy personality after evolving. As for Snivy, I'm making it fully evolve into a Serperior. It was stated to be an experienced Pokemon that left its shitty trainer, hence why it knew strong and unique moves. Because of this setup and backstory, I always felt like Snivy should have evolved at one point. Like, how is it possible that Tripp's newly obtained Snivy evolved before Ash's experienced Snivy could? So I think Ash should have a Serperior, and it would be a cool counterpart to Tripp's. Now for the truly new additions, starting with Darmanitan, a Pokemon I just really like for Ash. Instead of recycling Charizard and Infernape storyline right after Diamond and Pearl, how about we do something a bit more original with Ash's fire type of the region? I'm getting rid of Shit Knight and replacing it with a Darumaka Ash could catch early on in his journey. It'll be a mischievous Pokemon that'll eventually evolve into a beastly Darmanitan. It could even have its Zen mode ability too, which would be really cool. Then there's Braviary. It's one of my all-time favorite Pokemon, so I gotta give it to Ash. Although I love the boy Scraggy, I think it'll be really cool if Ash hatched a Rufflet from an egg instead. This would be his new flying type of the region, and would replace shitty ass Unfezant. I think it'll be really cool to go through a similar arc as Scraggy did, where it'll be a weak baby in the beginning, but then as the series progresses, you'll see it get stronger and finally evolve into a badass Braviary. Kalos. Yet another team that was hard to change. Ash's Kalos team is iconic and is one of the best teams he's ever had, so how could I change it? Well, in the end, like Sinnoh, I could only make one change, and it was to get rid of Goodra. This was a tough one, but honestly, aside from helping Ash defeat Clemont, Goodra realistically didn't do much. He wasn't in the team for that long, and when it did come back in the league, it was a huge disappointment, so I'd rather Ash not catch it to be honest. I know I could have easily gotten rid of Noivern since it sucked, but it played an important role in Haluch's development, so I don't want to lose that dynamic. With Goodra gone though, in my version of this team, Ash will get Noivern a lot earlier and give it the extra wins and screen time it deserved. Alright, enough explanation, time for the new team. It'll be Pikachu, Gekkoga, of course, Talonflame, Hawlucha, Noivern, and the new member, Chestnut. This might seem like a weird choice, but it's honestly the Pokemon that should have been Ash's. For starters, I never liked how Clemont got a Chespin. This was done so that again, all the starters could be spread out evenly throughout the group like an AG, but it just didn't fit Clement. He's an electric gym leader who continues to use electric types. Bunnelby's an exception as there was a backstory for that capture, and it at least knew an electric type move. As the comic relief of the series, Chespin always kinda reminded me of Ash's Oshawott, so I could totally see him having it. And if it fully evolves into Chestnut, it could also have a similar defensive battle style as its Goodra. It would basically be Torterra but done right. That would be awesome. Greninja would obviously still be the star of the team, but giving Ash a Chestnut would also give a bit more shine to the other Kalos starter, and even give his team a bit more type diversity. No more extra dragon type to bring more ice and fairy type weakness to the team. Now we've got Chestnut, who's also weak to ice and fairy. And he's also another fighting type like Hawlucha. God damn it! Alola! His team will be Pikachu, Dartrix, Lycanroc, Incineroar, Passimian, and Melmetal. First change is evolving God. I know that might seem like blasphemy, especially since I didn't really like Dartrix at first, but after seeing how's in the anime, it's definitely grown on me. It will literally have the same personality it had as a Rowlet, but you know, just be a bit bigger and stronger. It'll also make its win in the Alola League against Decidueye a lot more believable, even though I still think it's good the way it is. The new addition here though is Passimian. It's a Pokemon I really thought Ash was gonna catch in that one band episode. Now I absolutely love Naganadel, but it's another Gliscor and Goodra situation. It's a Pokemon that didn't really do much and wasn't in the team for that long. Sure, it comes back in the league, but the way it comes back is just as forced as its second release. I'd rather not have any of that. I still think Ash should catch Poipole though, as it plays an important role in the Necrozma arc, but after its release, they should just leave it there and give more shine to Melmetal as Ash's only legendary of the region. Yes, Mythicals are legendary. So with a slot left open, Passimian makes the team. And finally, Pokemon Journeys. As of the making of this video, the series isn't done yet, so we still don't know what Ash's full team will be. But because this is about making changes to Ash's teams, it doesn't really matter what the final outcome will be because this is what I would like his team to be. Pikachu, Dragonite, Lucario, Arcanine, Rillaboom, and Inteleon. Now for Journeys, there's no way I was going to get rid of Ash's internet-breaking captured Dragonite. As for Lucario, it's obviously the ace of Ash's Journeys team, so he ain't going anywhere either. Now for the new members. First, there's Arcanine. It's a Pokemon I really want Ash to have, and it was just shy of making my top 10 of Pokemon I want Ash to have. Plus, it's a Pokemon that was recently added to Red's arsenal in the Let's Go games, and since Ash is the counterpart to Red, and Journeys is pretty much the Let's Go anime, it would be a perfect fit. I'm sure my buddy JPR would approve of this choice.
You got that right, Zach.
Whoa, what the? I didn't actually think he'd show up. Anyways, as for the last two members, I decided to use them to give Ash some good Galar representation. This is the Gen 8 team after all. A lot of people were salty when Go ended up being the one to catch Sobble instead of Ash, and I don't blame you. Although I've kind of accepted Sobble being with Go now, I still think it would have been much cooler with Ash. It's a Pokemon that's very shy and timid, so it's the perfect candidate to go through a cool development arc where it matures and evolves into an awesome battler, kinda like Ash's Gliscor. Then there's Grookey. The Galar starter I believe fits Ash the most. He's already had monkey-type Pokemon like Primeape, Aipom, Infernape, and even the added Passimian for this video, so giving him the Grass Monkey starter isn't so far-fetched. Then as the series progresses, it evolves into a badass Rillaboom by the time Ash reaches the Master Class ranking. Imagine if our boy pulled up with this team to take on Leon in the end. That would be pretty awesome if you ask me. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform for creating your own dream website or domain. With it, you can make an online store, personal blog, and even your own personal portfolio the way I did. It's pretty cool if I do say so myself. Squarespace also has amazing features like the multiple templates option that make designing a website extremely easy, and even the analytics tool that tells you how many people have been viewing your site. If starting your own website sounds like something you want to do, then go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/trainerzack to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you, Squarespace. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know what you think of my new teams for Ash, and also let me know what changes you would make. Remember to live your life to the fullest and have yourself a damn good one.